You got this,
Yes,
bro.
welcome back to another episode of That Gonna Talk, and we're here to preview Arsenal taking on the first Champions League game as Arsenal take on Bilbao at the San Mamés. It's going to be an interesting one, but first of all, before we get into anything, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, help us on the road to 2K and 2K subscribers, each for
Oh man,
ourselves. Big up to KP. You already know. KP, how you feeling, man? With that big smile on your face going into this game.
feeling good, man. As I said to you before you jumped on, I'm feeling in a good mood. It's late around these sides, but I'm still feeling blessed. Arsenal looking great on the weekend. Game tomorrow.
Yep,
I'm
yep,
loving the
yep.
3 game weeks after the international break. So excited to see what we produce in the first Champions League game, and I'm just thankful, man. How are you feeling before we even get into this?
Feeling good, like you talked about. First Champions League game coming up. Second of 3 straight home games. I'll be at the third. Can't wait to be at the Emirates for the City game. It's gonna be a magical one.
I don't think I don't think the game's at home. The Bilbao
Oh,
game.
no. I'm blocking, bro. I know we're playing away in the Simon Men's. I literally just
Yeah,
said it.
I, I
But
I made the same mistake last week as well. I said that we're
but
playing
on
away.
the stretch of home, I know we're gonna be on the stretch of home games in the Premier League, Forrest, and then here home. And I think at Port Vale we play away, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So we got some home games coming up, also mixed in with some away games. But yeah, looking forward to this performance specifically. Champions League is back again. The bookies have us as favorites. I'm gonna get into that a little bit later to see what you think about this Arsenal team, being one of the favorites for the Champions League this season. But overall, yeah, confident going into this game, especially off the back of this weekend's performance against Forest. For me, the best performance this season. We saw the likes of Madueke stepping up in the absence of Saka. We saw Eze really get his full debut with the Arsenal, look brilliant as well. Zubamendi scored 2 great goals. Gyökeres on the score sheet, so a lot to look forward to from a preview perspective going into this game. Is there anything about the Forest game that you saw in particular that gives you confidence going into this game, KP?
yeah. It's just obviously that's a fresh front three that probably more than likely will start tomorrow. But maybe he might bring in a Martinelli or Trossard. So
Yeah.
it was exciting to see the way they were playing. Obviously, the way Madueke was taking on his man. Obviously, it's something we expect and we know Saka can do. But it was refreshing to see another player doing that. As in,
Yes.
obviously, Zubamendi, Mascara, like everyone in the team is looking well. Like I think we're functioning well, getting the ball forward fast, playing more riskier passes. I think our central access increased when Ethan came on, obviously despite Martin's injury. And I think obviously we can continue that against Bilbao tomorrow. Obviously, given that only a couple of weeks ago that we did put 3 past them, obviously albeit a preseason game in the Emirates Cup
Yeah.
and a bit different context, but I think they've had quite a good start to their season. I think they've won all their games,
Yeah.
but they
Barring the
they're
last
still
one. Yeah.
yeah, barring the last game, and obviously they are at home. I don't think Arsenal have played Bilbao at their ground, but I think it's an opportunity for us to go and get a win, and I think we should be able to play football. Spanish teams like to press up high; they like to try and play expansive football. We know how good our press is, and we know that we have players, Madueke, Eze, if they do get their starts, first Champions League game for both of them, they're going to be raring to go, wanting to make their impression, probably try and get their first goal for the Arsenal. So um, I'm excited, and it's an early game as well, so it's like you won't have to wait too long for us to watch it as well. What about you? What do you
Absolutely.
think?
Absolutely. Just in relation to the question, I do think this is what we talked about in going into the season with Zubamendi coming into that midfield, who comes from La Liga. I expect him, especially starting if he does start. You're gonna see the wingers again take another step on because we saw against Forest. We talked about it, how the level of our wingers is going to increase. And you talked about it, you touched on it a little bit with Ethan coming in. We saw Mosquera even playing that ball in your breakthrough, in the breakdown. You did a really good breakdown of it. Mascara was breaking the lanes really, really well, finding Ethan to foot all the time, breaking those spaces, and we're allowing us to transition and really attack their back line Forest. So I expect again with Madueke in such good form. They have Yuri, and I can't remember their fullback's name, but I expect Madueke as if they're the ones we go with the start, or if Arteta goes with the start, they're going to be looking to take the game by the scruff of the neck. And they have confidence. Just came in, they've been performing well, looking to be getting on the score sheet like you talked about. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they continue to grow in this Arsenal shirt. And I want to see them put in another performance because, yes, we know Saka is up the level, but why Saka is because he does it week in, week out. Can Noni Madueke do this before, give us this performance week in, week out? And then we're talking about a serious threat, whether that's off the bench or in rotation from the start. Same thing with Eze. We know he's more than likely going to be a starter, but can you give us that consistency even in European games in a busy three match week? So I'm looking forward to it, looking to see how these guys take their opportunities. First Champions League games for them. It's going to be a real exciting one.
Yeah,
But
that's
KP, oh yeah, keep going, bro. Say what you
yeah,
saying.
that's the thing. That's just um a big thing. Obviously, it's difficult for us to even know whether we're going to play the same lineup or not, and it's not just because um like we need to rotate. It's just because now you don't know how he's going to play it, whether he's going to prioritize
Absolutely.
these Sunday
Absolutely.
or and obviously there's a lot of days between now Tuesday and Sunday. To
Mm-hmm.
be honest with you, so it's a difficult one. But yeah, sorry for interrupting.
No. I was really gonna ask you that if there's. I don't want to get into the lineups just yet, but I do want to talk about players because I think the depth and the new signings are the biggest takeaways from this weekend's performance. We see Mosquera stepping in. I'm looking forward long term. William Saliba is back in full team training, first team training. We know he had an injury in the Liverpool game in the warm up. Didn't even last 5 minutes in the game. That was a bit of concern. Good to see him back training with the first team, completing full training today. No, you're looking at Mosquera. Does he get to go from the start? Do you what do you think about the midfield? I mean, Ethan had a good performance. Does Ethan come back in? Is there any more shots? Does Moreno, who had a good performance, stay in for you? I know we rested Rice in probably anticipation for this game. And then that front three, does the front three keep his place? All of them, I think, had a good game in respective to their own um contributions, but it depends. Would you off the top of your head, is there any changes you'd make? Any outside shots? So what do you talk about? What do you think about the depth of Arsenal so far this
I
season?
think I think obviously to answer your question just there, I think the depth is good as I spoke in my video. I think we have two and like if not more clear like players in each position that are of good level, and both players, most of them bring something different to the other player. Like it's not like the same type of player in each position, which I think is a good thing because, as you say, I think Mikel mentioned it. Once you get to that stage where there's a everyone's fit and there's 3 games a week and you can be rotating and there's different type of games and the high competition's high, and then it's about rotating based on
Yeah.
who's playing well at the moment, who fits this type of game style based on maybe, do you know what I mean, that type of stuff. And that's a good thing to have. Like for years, as I said, we always were able to predict our lineup, which isn't a bad thing if you know your strongest lineup, but we definitely knew it wasn't a situation of you want to change that lineup. I don't think
Mhm.
we're at that stage now. I think you could argue there's some that you if you put certain changes, like for example, you put Marino in for Rice, it was a surprise, but no one was like, "Oh my days, why are you doing that?" And Marino showed that
A few
that's a
people
good.
were offline. A few people were. A few people were.
Well, you know, but like it's with Marino, it's you saw how good he played, and that gives me confidence, gives Mikel confidence that in future games where I want to rest Rice or rotate Rice, I can put Marino in there. He can do a job the way we need to, and the team can still flow. So I think um it's difficult. Obviously, when we get into the lineup, I think you'll see my thinking, but um
I
like however he goes with it, I don't really mind. That's
yeah.
really what I would say. Like, but that's a credit to the business we've done in the summer. Credit to focusing on getting the numbers more than I guess like those key players. And obviously, you would always argue like you want to get the best player in each position. Maybe things can be different, but rounding off our squad is, I think, is for what we had last season is what we needed more than trying to just get 1 or 2 major signings. We needed to get bodies in, and as you said, Mascaras, your Zubimendi's, your Madueke's, they're coming in and looking very, very good amongst other things. And obviously, Odegaard being injured, Ethan, I think will probably play this game. Like, but I think he looks, as I said, I think he looks more physically stronger now. Like he looks like he's been built a bit more. I think he can last in the middle, and he has the qualities that we actually need. So um, yeah, let's see what we put up together in the lineup.
My question, going back to you right before we get into the lineup, we could transition from there. How would you approach this game? Like I know we played them in preseason, but again, that's a different context. They're also not ready. We've, I think, gotten better from that preseason game as well, even though we won the game 3-0. But I think that game showed a lot of what this Arsenal might have looked like. I think that was one of our better preseason performances, one of the best ones. I think for me, in terms of how I'd approach the game, I think we normally press high. We're normally very physical. We're normally very dominant. And especially, I think if we find ourselves imposing ourselves with that dominance physically, I don't think they'll live with us. Because on a player to player level, I think we're the better technical team. I think we're the better quality team, and we think we have the better players. So it's about how do you match up physically? Can they overpower you? Do they want it more? Yes, they might be the home team. How is your approach mentally to the game? And I don't think Mikel Arteta is going to be one to go into this game not wanting to win. And I don't think the players who have a lot to prove should be coming into this game thinking, yeah, man, we beat them in preseason. Let's just go in here and do our business. I think we're going to approach the game very serious, and I think we're going to do our job. So in terms of press, I think the press is going to be very intense. And I do think physically we're going to have the bettering of them. Like I said, I touched on it earlier. I think the wingers are also very key. Yuri, I think, was one of their standout defenders, and watching them so far this season. But again, he's 35 years old. He's not getting any younger. So I think Madueke, because he plays as a left back, I think Madueke should be having another performance if we continue to feed him, if he continues to have his way in the game. I look for another special performance from him. But overall, I just think you need to dominate that midfield, dominate that game, impose yourself physically. I know who I'd go with in the midfield. It'd be interesting to see who you ended up going with as well. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to a high octane performance. So I expect
And,
goals as well.
and off the back of what you're saying, like Bilbao at home is their first Champions League game of the season as well. They're relatively in good form, so they're going to be confident. Obviously, they're going to
Yeah.
understand the threat Arsenal have. They just recently faced that, so they're going to be wary. But I don't think they're going to come and just try and low buckle it out. They're going to try and play football, play out the back like most Spanish teams do. They're going to try and press up high. They're going to try and exploit our weaknesses. But I think by default, that's going to allow us to play the game that we probably want to play, that we kind of normally see Arsenal play in Europe, which is a more open game, less low block, which gives more chance for our attacking players to kind of go 1v1 against probably less physical players, and create advantages, and players like Gokras and stuff having more space in behind, opportunities to kind of score. That it'll be there. It's just whether we kind of are ruthless in our play. And I think coming off the back of a good win and relatively a good start, obviously bar the Liverpool game, we had a good start. So I think the players are going to be confident. Whoever does start is going to probably feel like Jim saying they want to get themselves into that team sheet against City on Sunday. So yeah, like I'm excited for the game. I think it's going to be another good watch as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, we can
Yeah,
get into the.
think so as well. So getting into the lineup, I know there's going to be very interesting to see what you go with. And I think, like you talked about, this is the fun part. This is where in seasons prior we probably could have just pre-made the lineup, threw it on screen, and said, you know what, here we go, guys. You no need to talk about this. But certain areas we can still do that. David Raya obviously is in goal. For me, I think, like I said, I keep talking about it. One of the best goalkeepers in the world. 42 clean sheets for Arsenal in 100 games. I don't know the stats or the numbers, but Mikel said that's one of the best or the best in the club's history in terms of ratio over that span.
Yeah,
So if you ask me, one of the best in the world, people might argue yes or no, but you can't deny two back-to-back golden gloves. Even with that defense in front of him, he still made world-class saves. Shot stopping ability is impressive. Penalty save record is also very good. David Raya doesn't move from the goalkeeper position for me, honestly.
yeah. I wouldn't move him from the position. I have a first game of the season. Away ground as well. I wouldn't want to put Kepa into that kind of game either.
Yeah.
Even though I think there should be a competition that we do use Kepa in. Obviously, he probably will get those minutes against Port Vale next week, but
Mhm.
Raya should be playing. He's been excellent, as he said, one of the best keepers in the world. That save from that Chris Wood chest shot was insane. I didn't clock it at first, and it's just he's given us that level of security that the defensive line then gives us, then Rice then gives us,
Mhm.
and the whole team gives us. He's a major part of that. So, as you said, yeah. Moving on to right back, I think Mikel said Ben White wasn't in the team. He didn't
Okay.
travel either, so I think it kind of answers itself.
Okay. So
But
Timber again.
this guy's my favorite guy, so
Mm-hmm.
I always venture for Timber. Saliba did travel. Mikel said that he did train again before the game against Forest, so it's not like this was his first session. He's had a few sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I personally, obviously, just taking over. I personally wouldn't play Saliba in this game. I wouldn't start him in this game. I would maybe bring him on maybe
agree.
last 20 to give him some minutes before the City game. Hopefully, he doesn't reinvigorate anything. But I think Mascara's been well. I think you give him the game. I think you would ideally want to play Saliba and Gabriel against Highlands and against City on Sunday, and you don't want to risk starting Saliba and any kind of injury happening and not looking the white, especially off the back of Mascara's excellent performance. I think I would start Mascara and then give Saliba 25, 30 minutes towards the end if we're able to put the game away in that instance and then make that kind of sub.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
Absolutely
do?
agree. No,
Because some people say
absolutely
think
agree.
it's for some people might argue and say giving him minutes to get him ready for that City game might be better, but I don't know what you think.
No, I don't think there's no, like I talked about. This is exactly where we want the depth. I don't want to rush Saliba in. No, it's one thing if he's ready right now, he could play. I mean, yeah, cool, but give Mosqueda the game. Maybe give Saliba some 20 minutes so he can still get on the field, get some in-game reps in. He can still play, get the minutes under his belt, under that ankle, see how it really feels in match conditions. Maybe sprinting back a few times, getting forward, passing, high intensity. You getting pressed. How does it feel? But again, I think if there's any sort of doubt, even if he's 10%, even if he's 90% fit, I'm still going Mosqueda because over the time he's been starting for Arsenal, but coming into the lineup, he's been absolute quality. What a bargain. £13 million. You telling me for a modern day centre back like this? Probably some of the best business in the whole transfer window. And then next to him, you probably have one of the best centre backs again in the world, Gabriel. You can't deny a guy who's, we don't even talk about him anymore because his solid performances are just kind of like, yeah, man, he
They're
was solid
normal
again.
now.
Solid again. That performance against Forrest was 8 out of 10. Clear, bossed it. Like nothing beat past him. Breaking the lanes with passes as well. Driving with the ball from midfield. Something we're seeing him add to his game. Come on, man. One of the best centre backs in the world and only continuing to get better after signing that new deal at Arsenal. So I think
There you
that's a
go.
solid back line. And then who you go with that left back?
I think I would play Lewis Skelly in this game.
Okay.
I think not because of anything, just because I feel like it is good to rotate. I think obviously you don't want to chance it with Calafiori's fitness or good fitness to the start of the season with just playing them in so many games consecutively and potentially like you know allowing something to kind of heighten up. I think like Miles has been on the bench, coming on, making his cameo minutes adequately. I think it's the type of game where you can kind of rotate him. I would play Calafiori against City on Sunday, but I'd play Miles today. I mean, so yeah, Miles today for me, but and
Would
allow
you
him
play
to.
Nkapia? No shout for Nkapia?
I think it's a shower. It's a shout. I just think Champions League game, first game. I don't know. I think it's a good one to bring off the bench. I don't know if
Yeah.
from the start it's the best. I'm not worried about it, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
I think Miles will be next in line to start in that
Yeah.
position, especially
I
given the
hear.
fact that he's been coming. So I would play Miles. What about you? What would you go with?
Nah, I'd go Miles. It's very interesting to say because I mean we talked up Gabriel, we talked up Miles, who I think should be getting that position if we don't play Calafiori, especially he's been coming off the bench, he's been making the minutes adequate. He hasn't really got time in the Premier League this season to really show his ability for what we've seen him play last season. We know he's a great player. When Nkapia comes in and he starts to get up to speed fully for Arsenal, does Lewis Skelly move into midfield? That's something to check to look at. But I think you give the minutes to Lewis Skelly. Why not? He's played bigger games in the Champions League before. He's played with us on the highest level. I trust him. He's a great player.
Yeah,
So continue to develop
I
him,
trust him.
continue to give him those
I
minutes.
just think it's just one of those ones where you just got to be smart. Like he
Yeah.
played. Okay, yeah, he did. He didn't play the second game in Italy's um international break, but he played
Yeah.
all but
Yeah.
most of the minutes against Forrest. You kind of give him a rest, maybe bring him on last 27 Saliba, so he can kind of be fresh for Sunday. And I think that's how you do it, man.
Mhm.
And the midfield, obviously, I'm gonna assume if it's right of me that Zubamendi and Rice are gonna start for you.
Yes. Zubamendi and Rice. However, though, I thought about it long and hard about if I would go Rice or Moreno, I know the manager is probably gonna lean Rice, right? I lean Zubamendi and Moreno specifically because one, that partnership has seemed to be flourishing for Spain and we only seen it one game for Arsenal. But off the basis of that, I think we played our most free-flowing football just because they have the better connection and they kind of know how to play with each other. They know what kind of football they want to play together. And they're also going up against Spanish opposition. So both of them will be familiar with the kind of football Athletic will play. And they're also going to be comfortable with playing in that atmosphere at the San Mamés. Will Declan Rice be shaken by the atmosphere? No. Is Declan Rice a good player? Yes, of course. Can Declan Rice start? And will he start? More than likely, I think he will. But I think that Moreno off the bench or from the start, I think is also a good show, especially for us in transition, one. And two, any cutbacks or layoffs, because he seems to be showing that he's a great finisher from in and around the box. So I think it's a show that Moreno could get another start. I think he came from, like we talked about, scored some goals in international break, got a hat trick, came back, had a great performance against Forrest. But I think the manager is going to reward seniority. He's probably going to lean Zubamendi Rice. And then I think in the 10, he might go with Ethan.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think Marino was excellent against Forest, and I think him and Zubamendi, as you can tell, they've played for club and country for many, many years, so they have a certain level of chemistry, trust, and a relation to just covering space for each other that I could see on Saturday. That was lovely to see. But I just think, given Rice not starting, coming off quite late in the game for Marino, kind of given a rest, I don't see why he wouldn't start again. Obviously, unless there's an injury worry or just kind of a necessity to kind of rest him. I think he was kind of rested for this game. Not rested for this game, but rested for this game. And then, he plays like 60 minutes and then Marino comes on for the last 30 and you get Rice ready for City on Sunday. And yeah, I think obviously you could argue there's arguments you could say. Obviously, maybe you put Eze in the 10 and you put, Martinelli or Trossard off the left wing. But I think after the young boy signing his new contract, with it being that he's in direct competition to play with Odegaard, it was talked about in many of the rumors and the articles that he's going to be played more centrally for us this season. Odegaard's been injured, and obviously it's clearly a recurrence of that injury. He might be out for a little bit. Ethan had a good performance when he came on against Forest. Like, obviously, yes, similar thing. You don't want to bam him to the ground. He could be a good in contention to start in that City game in that 10 position. But I think you give him another game here still, because I think in the Champions League where there's a lot more space, a lot more players trying to foul and press up. I think he can have his joy, and I think that would be good. So I think Ethan, Mendy, and Rice will probably be in midfield. I don't know what you think.
Nah, yeah, I think it will be Ethan, Zubamendi, and Rice. And like you talked about with Ethan, I think Ethan has grown. Even in the Forest game, we've seen him growing into taking the ball on in those central areas, beating his man, feeling the pressure, and being able to take contact and still run through the contact and still play a high tempo and move it through the lines really, really well. It's just gonna be interesting to see how that middle pairing get along comparing to the game against Forest. I want to continue to see whoever goes in there. I think all of them are great players, but I want to see the rhythm continue to be high intensity. That's
To be
really all
fair,
I'm looking
to be fair, we've seen a relationship change in terms of Rice's role. Him and Zubamendi
for.
playing more of a double pivot or
Mm-hmm.
more of a you go I go type situation. Yes, I think Rice and Marino are two different type of players, and stylistically, Marino's a bit more fluid within those pockets and on the half turn and stuff. But I think Rice, especially in a game like this where we want to press up high, especially where there'll be a lot of space for him to kind of carry the ball,
Yeah.
be at the end of things. Obviously, uses excellent delivery to punish these type of teams that won't be able to live with our set pieces. I think there's
Absolutely.
many a factor where, like, as I said, this is the
Absolutely.
type of conversation, this is the type of
Absolutely.
problem, like what
Absolutely.
you said before, we done the lineup that we want, where we can give arguments for both, and it's valid arguments, and you probably wouldn't mind who starts where. Like, do you know what I mean? So that's just a credit again to the Berta to Arteta, and obviously our front three. Would you leave it unchanged, or would you give Martinelli or Trossard a run in the eye of maybe giving an Eze, an Eze a rest maybe before the City game, or would you just keep it the same?
I I would. I feel like I'm pulling teeth. I honestly don't know. I think I wish we had someone in replacement of Gyökeres. Not that I think that Gyökeres is crap or anything like that, but I mean he was subbed off against Forest for some rest. But I wish we had a Kai or Jesus, man, because this is a perfect game. I think we could rotate, put a striker in there, play
Yeah,
Jesus. Especially, I thought would have been a really, really good
yeah,
player, especially with this lineup. I think the front three would have been liquid. It would have been magical football to watch. But I think with Joker, I think you go Madueke, Jokeres, and Eze. And I will go with that because I just want to continue to reward good performances. Eze, I know he's probably chomping at the bit to play Champions League. I wouldn't want to take that from him and Madueke, because that's what they played the last game for, and you could hear it in the post-match interviews that they gave. They're looking forward to playing this next game, and so is Jokeres. First game in the Champions League, the same thing like for the Premier League, he's going to be wanting to put down a marker and say, yes, I'm here for the Arsenal. Not only am I doing it in the Premier League, but I can do it in Europe for one of the biggest clubs in the world. So I think you reward the guys that have been performing in the last game. I mean, we talk about rotation and fitness. I think if you get the goals early, you put the game away early, there's always room to rotate, bring in Martinelli, bring in Charles, like what you did against Forrest.
And that's
So
just what it is, man. It's like I think Mikel. So Mikel said something. I think got asked about Saka, and he said he doesn't know. Obviously, I can tell when a player is going to be back soon. Obviously, it could be mad games. You could be saying, "No, listen, Saka could just be, the next City press conference." You could be like, "Yeah, Saka trained yesterday or something," but it doesn't seem Saka's going to be fit for the City game. So if he's not fit for the City game, we know this is probably this front three this is the front three that's going to start. So why not then them getting more reps together, getting more familiarity with each other's games? Yeah, as you said, most of them, if not all of them, are probably gonna get taken off. If we're able to get the result early in the game, so and get the rest for Sunday. So why not just continue let them roll? Like obviously bar Madueke, they all got a goal contribution. I'm pretty sure Madueke and Eze. I just said first game Champions League, they'll be ready to go and be willing to want to kind of break that first goal for Arsenal. So I will go with this, and it's a strong team, and I agree with you as well. Also, if Jesus or Havertz, but obviously probably more Jesus was fit, I think we start to see like more stylistically more of an aesthetically pleasing game from the team from all fronts. But I think obviously that will happen with time, which is why I said I'm excited, because I feel like as much as the injuries are annoying, and we hope they don't come to make us drop points, is a blessing in disguise, because it gives some of these new players kind of a good run of importance, not just in terms of starting Premier League, Champions League games with the main 11 early and getting those relationships going already, that they probably wouldn't have been able to get when being rotated with different type of lineups. So that will bode well for them to settle into the team, get confident, and like it's like a blessing in disguise. It's a blessing and a curse, but I think it might prove to be a blessing once all these players come back fit, that we have all of our new boys settled in, like it's exciting.
absolutely. Absolutely,
um
absolutely. I can't
so
wait. I can't wait to see the team at full fitness, because we're already giving ourselves selection nightmares, and I know you're gonna get injuries across the season. But imagine when Saka comes back, you're looking at a team. You're looking at Madueke. If he continues to give us that performance as a player off the bench, we're looking at a series. I mean, Martinelli, if come on, hopefully something is like rails him up inside and he could get back to his goal scoring form. He could find his end product in the final third. But even then, man, I'm looking forward to seeing what this team looks like going forward. I think the team is strong enough. And prediction wise for this game specifically, I'm going 4-0 Arsenal. People might say that's a bit out there. I just think the physicality of us, if we turn up on the day and we really impose ourselves, and we have the players that could dictate the football match, especially Zubamendi. I'm very, very, very intrigued to see how Zubamendi plays this game. I'm expecting a good performance, and I expect our wingers to get a lot of opportunities. Madueke and Eze, we talked about, should be chomping at the bit. We have a gunman up front. I'm expecting goals, and I'm expecting another performance. And if we comfortably put 3 past Forrest, who sat deep in for a lot of that game, they kind of played out, but it's like let's end up sitting deep for a little bit portions of that game. We still found a way through. I think we have the technical quality. If we have Rice from set pieces as well, that's going to pose a danger. And it just takes the first goal, man. We saw against Bilbao in the first game how we scored a brilliant goal with Saka. But long ball up front, Jokeres knocked down to Odegaard. Odegaard flicks it over the top for Martinelli, who lays it off to Saka, finds the back of the net. So look for our wingers to make runs off of Jokeres. We also saw that in the Forest game. So I'm very, very much looking forward to this game. And I think we're going to have a comprehensive victory. 4-0 Arsenal is my prediction.
4-0, brother. I like it. I was gonna go 3-0, and I'll say I'm gonna go 3-0. I think it'll be another 3-0 performance. Put the game, maybe hopefully get a good early enough away goal to kind of settle ourselves, kind of get the crowd a bit more frustrated, put pressure on their players, and we can come out and play. Well, obviously, that happens. I think we can literally steamroll them. So Thunder 4, but I'm just going to be a bit more safe, go over 3, and I think just continue winning on that. Try to get a win against City on Sunday. Go to Port Vale, win. You then kind of have 4 wins in a row in a week. And then you're kind of feeling, a bit more momentum now, kind of moving forward. Even if maybe a couple of young players getting their the debut and stuff like that, or getting some minutes. So like it's good. So 3-0 for me, and hopefully it's a game that's enjoyable. No injuries
Yeah,
again. Touch
yeah,
wood.
absolutely, absolutely. But before we close out, KP, I want to ask you. I know we saw the lineup. Is there anyone that you think might impact the game specifically that we haven't mentioned so far in this preview? Any names you want to give a shout out to?
I think Martinelli and Trossard. I think if they, well, whoever and wherever they come on, I think against tired legs, I think they, and with point to prove, anger of not playing, I think they can affect the game a lot. And Max Downham, if he gets his opportunity, which obviously I know he's travelled, and his Champions League, you get a bigger squad. Obviously, with still no Saka, you might have to pull it. You definitely can't play Madueke for the whole game. Same thing with Gokras, but obviously he always has the Marino option to be there. So I think Marino, and I think obviously Martinelli and Max Downham are the 3 that I put to kind of potentially come and change the game. How about you? Who do you think?
Nah, I was gonna lean kind of towards Max, and I think if Max plays this game, he will be the youngest player in Champions League history, or definitely in the top 2 or 3.
Yeah, he'll be the
So
youngest though.
youngest, but I think by far as well. So that'd be a big credit to Arteta, big credit to Max Doman, and big credit to HLN for bringing through another world class potential talent. And yeah, man, hopefully the game is comfortable enough where we do see a player like Max, because every time you watch him, he is exciting. I mean, I would love to see him on the European stage, especially to see what he does against different kind of teams, different kind of setups, especially
Yeah,
even when we're up cruising in the game and the vibes are nice. I wouldn't mind seeing a Max Doman. But thank you, people, for watching. Thank you for showing all love and support. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to both of our channels. We're on the road to 2K subs. So if you like anything Arsenal related, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button on Gunner Street and Kate Pass Pause. We have all interesting Arsenal content. And for all the
come on.
vibes, if you like, if you and then listen, people. If any of our previews come true, you have to call us wizards in the comments. So come back to this video and say wizards. Wizards. That's what we're gonna say. If you made it to the end of the video, comment wizards. And if any of our predictions
Come on,
come true,
Wizards.
say wizards. But yes, people, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for all your love and support. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace, people.
Peace.